Hi, I'm Maria Walther.
And I'm Jessica Walsh.
And we're two traveling teachers. We're here today at Fisher Middle School, and we just had the great opportunity to see Donalyn Miller talk about books and literacy. She was awesome. And so we're going to talk about some books about women making history and women from history.
Yeah, so
making history.
Yeah, making history now. And I'm going to start with On the Come Up. This is Angie Thomas's new book, her follow-up to The Hate You Give, another New York Times bestseller. They're both on there right now currently. And I got to see her live at Anderson's recently, and it was a packed house. So On the Come Up is about Bree. She's a teenager living in Garden Heights, which is where The Hate You Give was set. But you won't see Star Carter in this book. This is Bree's story, and Angie wanted to give Bree her own voice, and she's got a great voice. So she's a rapper, like I said, and Angie Thomas was actually a rapper when she was a teenager, and so you see that come through because there's actual lyrics to songs in here, and the rhythm is so good. And I love music, but I'm not a performer in that way and with rap, and so but I could still, the rhythm just jumped off the page. So it was really enjoyable for me just to see how Bree evolves using her voice. And one of my favorite lines from the book that she uses in her rap is, "You can't have brilliant without Bree." And this book is brilliant. So On the Come Up by Angie Thomas.
And we're going to pair that with a woman from history. This is Planting Seeds, the life of the librarian and storyteller Pura Belpré. And just such a beautifully illustrated biography about her story coming from Puerto Rico to New York, working in the New York City Library, and she was a storyteller. So when she got there, she noticed that her stories, the stories from Puerto Rico, weren't present in the library, and so she began telling them, and then she made puppets to tell them with, and then she wrote them down, and it just really goes through her journey as a storyteller as she planted those seeds along the way. And that metaphor is carried through in the words and in the pictures. So this is the biography Planting Seeds by Anika, Aldamuy, Denise, and Paula Escobar, Planting Seeds.
All right, we're back with two more books of women making history. I'm going to be sharing a transitional chapter book. This is Rosie Revere and the Raucous Riveters, which is the first book in the new questionnaires series. So for our readers who are familiar with Rosie from the picture books, we're going to be excited to see that her story continues for older readers, so they can make that connection from their early reading days as they develop as readers. So in this book, Rosie's got a problem that the Riveters have asked her to tackle, and she goes through the whole design thinking process to try to solve that problem. There's a lot of attempts at learning, and until ultimately we see how she problem solves with the help of her team. And so beautiful illustrations. I spent a lot of time kind of looking at those, and I think kids will too. So that's Rosie Revere and the Raucous Riveters.
And Andrea Beaty was at the Anderson's breakfast this
here?
Weekend, so I got to see her talk, and she talked a lot about the illustrations and how David Robert has put in a lot of little things for kids to notice. And so
it's another kind of reading. Like you read the text, but then you can also read the illustrations. Cool.
Yeah, so the kids will be excited to graduate to that book. And we're going to pair Rosie with another strong girl who is a design thinker. This is called Two Problems for Sophia by Jim Averbeck and Yasmin Ismail. And it's a follow-up to One Word for Sophia, which was a book about...
New to me.
New to you. Oh, yeah. So One Word for Sophia was great for opinion writing.
Okay.
Because she wanted this giraffe.
Okay.
And so she worked her way through getting the giraffe. So now, in this book, she has the giraffe, but there are two problems. One, the giraffe snores very loudly and keeps everyone in the family up, and the other problem is that he, I know, me too, that he licks. And so she goes through the
I can't relate to that.
No. So she goes through the design process to figure out a way to make the giraffe stop snoring. She consults Ms. Canticle, which is the name for like a hymn, so kind of funny, haha. Nice. And in the end, she makes a sleeping mask for the giraffe. So she solves the problem, and two problems for Sophia. For our third pairing, Jessica's going to start us out with...
Yeah, Love, Sugar, Magic, A Dash of Trouble by Meriano. This is a great middle grade book. Main character is, her family owns a bakery in town, and it's very popular, especially around the time of Dia de los Muertos. They get tons of business. It's the most popular time of year, And this year she really wants to help out the family, and she discovers that they're kind of keeping her at bay. So she sneaks into the bakery when she's supposed to be at school, and she discovers that her sisters and her mom and her aunt are all practicing magic, and that a lot of the people in town come to them because they infuse some of their baked goods with magic. And she discovers she's a bruja too. Bruja means witch in Spanish. And so she's like, well, I'm going to steal that recipe book and I'm going to try it for myself. And so under the cover of darkness at night in her room, she uses her easy bake oven, and she realizes that she can infuse magic into these cookies that she makes. And of course, it goes wrong. She's trying to help a friend out with a love spell. It's a disaster, but it's just such a sweet read. Love Sugar Magic, A Dash of Trouble, and book 2 just came out a couple weeks ago. This is Love Sugar Magic, A Sprinkle of Spirits. So I just love this middle grade series, and I'm excited for more to come.
Yeah, and we know kids love series books, so once they get hooked on that one, the second one's already out. So when Jess talked that book with me, she told me that was in a bakery, so my challenge is always to find a book that matches, and this book that I'm going to talk about is Under My Hijab, and it's just such a beautiful book by Hena, and it actually, the first spread is set in a bakery. So this young girl just shares the stories of all of the people in her family and her relatives that wear hijabs, and then go home and take them off and do different things. And my favorite line or part of this book, it says, "These wonderful girls and smart women inspire me with all that they do. I wear my hijab like each of them, or try something totally new." And so today we're just talking about books about women who inspire us, women who make history, women in history.
Women using their power in whatever way they can.
Right. So we're 2 traveling teachers. Thanks for sharing some time with us, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.